Welcome to the Fold Mysteries, where we seek to discover everything that lies between the folds of reality. And we have me, Gwendolyn Guthrie, as one of your hosts, and Abe Del Rio as your other host. So,
Wow. How is everybody doing? Gwendolyn, how you been?
I've been good. I've been good. You know what? We were talking about last week. We had cabin fever, and it
Uh,
has gotten so strong that I have made time. I'm going out tomorrow morning before work to go out and scout some areas because Ohio has actually had a ramp up of Bigfoot activity. A lot of reports coming in. So I think now's the time to get out there. So I'm going out Friday, kind of seeing if I can see any areas that might look like they've had some activity. And
yeah.
then so do that for Saturday. So then the Saturday comes along, I have all my stuff charging. I'm making bags of casting powder and going to get ready to go out for Saturday. So scouting Friday, investigation on Saturday, see if I can get anything good. So
Absolutely. And you're absolutely right. Between March 6th through the 11th, there was a string of sightings during those few days, all in
mhm.
Portage County. Are you heading up that way?
Yeah, I've actually been up that way to research a few times. So, there's a couple areas I might look at up there. There's a really very heavily active area from last year I want to check out on Friday here too. So, I'm just going to be doing a lot of driving Friday morning. So,
Oh my God. But how far is that from where you're at?
it's not far at all. Maybe like an hour ish, maybe
Oh
a little
gosh.
over. Yeah, not far at all.
You could drive with your knees.
Yeah,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, totally. You know, what an intro. I don't know how many times I've probably had that facial expression while out in the field. Like, oh, So I was like, oh my gosh, home run. You hit a home run on that one. That was really,
Yes.
really cool. And I was laughing so hard. So I mean, I actually had tears in my eyes. I was like, what the heck? But that was, it was really, really cool. I feel officially part of the family.
Yeah.
And thank you again.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so happy to have you as a part of the Fold family. So, yes, what a member you are too, because you bring a lot to the table. So I appreciate you coming on here
Oh,
with me. And yeah,
and you giving me goosebumps. And that's how my body reacts to things, as you'll find out and stuff like that. Is when I'm recalling something, or if I can relate to somebody, or if they say something that really strikes something, my hairs will stay. I got goosebumps right now. So yeah, my body reacts to what people are saying, especially if I can relate and been in that same.
yeah,
It's
same,
going to be a
totally,
fun ride, I think.
absolutely, 100%. Yes. So how about you? You got anything going on? I know that you got your conference coming up for MNBRT. Um,
Yeah. We're going to. MNBRT is going to host our seventh MBC Minnesota Bigfoot Conference, and I think here, so actually maybe this weekend I might be finally getting a couple of bios, and we're going to start releasing a speaker or two this month in April as well. So for more information on our Facebook page, look up Minnesota Bigfoot Conference, or even to follow us, Minnesota Bigfoot Research Team. Look up Minnesota Bigfoot Research Team on our
heck
Facebook
yeah.
page. And we also have MNBRT group that people are more than welcome to join as well. It's been fun ride for the past 26 years, and we are celebrating our 26-year anniversary in May. So yeah, it's just we keep going and going and going.
Yeah, heck
Yeah,
yeah.
and
So
as
how
far
many
as
years in a row is this for you guys for the conference?
for the conference, we had our first one in 2020, which was like historically groundbreaking for the state of Minnesota. Nobody's ever had a big conference in Minnesota. And for our first conference, we had Bob Gimlin, we had Cliff Berkman, a local author and researcher, Mike Quast, Ron Moorhead, and Scott Nelson.
Yes.
And it was, I shouldn't say we didn't have Bob Gimlin here. We did have, with the help of a good friend and brother in research, Russ Accord, remotely to have Bob Gimlin up here at the conference. So it was a great time. We all had a fun time. And so, yeah, it'll be our seventh conference this year.
Nice. And
Oh,
running.
yeah. Still doing it. It takes a lot to do something like this. I'm sure you're well aware of. But by the grace of God, He just lines everything up, and it all just comes together.
Nice. Perfect. Well, I'll be looking forward to it. I'm going to try to get out there. It's
Oh,
definitely a
yay!
major goal of mine. So, yeah, I gotta work it out. I got a lot going on this year already, so I've already got all my vacations put in that I have, but I can take things unpaid. So I still want to like try to get out there. So
yeah. So that's going on, and then I mean, with the snow we got hit with just this past weekend, it's already okay. Google temperature. It's 48 degrees now, but we got hit with like some parts of Minnesota had 18 inches, something. It was just crazy. I think where I'm at, we got 11 to 13 inches, which ain't too bad.
yeah.
But I think, knock on wood, I hope this is the last, snowfall that is that much. So with it being, nicer weather, getting out in the field more often, hitting some areas up. We're going to have a team meeting here next month where we all can get together. And when we do that, we all get together. We all talk about areas, locations. So MMBRT is like a tree basically, and we have different team members that hear different things at branches and stuff like that. And we're going to try to focus on where we've had past activity and if there is any recent activity that people have heard, things that other team members want to bring to the table as far as length and time and dates where we want to stay out in the field and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's good. I really am.
Yes, I'm excited for you.
Yeah.
Speaking of all of those wonderful, amazing speakers you had at your first conference, we happen to have somebody just as amazing and just as awesome. And I'm super stoked to welcome David Ellis to the show. So welcome, David.
Hey, good evening.
Welcome. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for inviting me. It's my pleasure. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I'll tell everyone a little bit about you as if they don't already know.
Okay.
So David Ellis, he was a big part of the Olympic project. You were born in Washington State. You have a bachelor's degree, and hold on, I'm losing my place here. So you've actually followed the Bigfoot phenomena since 1963, so a very long time. You took interest in the Bigfoot field in 2006, where you joined the Washington Bigfoot research team as a field investigator. And then you joined the Olympic project with Derek Randles in 2010, which gravitated toward a documentation of focus.
Yes.
I get tongue-tied a lot. So you learned and taught how to track and casting methods. And you also taught yourself how to record and edit field recordings. And you have reviewed thousands of hours of audio using bioacoustic methods of analysis and have collected hundreds of suspicious audio and vocalization clips.
Yes.
So you are an audio, what would I call an audio expert? So I know that's a big word, but
yeah, I like audio file. I have an interest in audio. So there we go.
Yeah. And so you don't just do audio. That's kind of your forte, but you do a lot of other stuff too. So do you want to tell us about a little bit of the other stuff that you do?
Well, in my other life, when I used to get out every weekend, I like the camping experience with people, and I was learning a lot of what field work consisted of, but it was just a good time and things were happening, and I'm going, how do we convert this to something that somebody else might be able to appreciate? And that's when I got into the documentation process. I saw my first footprint in the mud that kind of looks suspicious to me. And that inspired me to learn how to cast. So I learned from, who Rick Knoll is? Does that name ring a bell? Does with Abe? You too, Gwendolyn? Yeah.
Yes.
So he was in our neck of the woods. For those that don't know, Rick uh, has been investigating for a long time, and his expertise to the Bigfoot community was in track casting. And so I learned methodologies from him and took that to the field. And just every weekend, there was one location that I was going to, whether they were Bigfoot or human, it didn't matter. I was learning how to cast. So I was prepared for the first time when I would get the big one. And it actually, I think Abe knows this, it turned out to be a little one. It's only, it was only 4 inches long. And it, it got the interest of Dr. Meldrum. I put it in front of him and he looked at it and he looked at me and he goes, interesting. so so at least I got that kind of a compliment from him. But yeah, the track casting became a big thing for me. And then I transferred that energy into audio recording, because sometimes during the night camping, you will hear things. And I didn't like did you hear that, kind of conversation the next day with people that were camping with you? Oh yeah, I heard those knocks. So I figured out, I better get a recorder going. And so I went down that path and got into, what's Abe, help me out here. The handheld
Thermal?
Parabolic dish.
Yeah, it's a parabolic dish.
Yeah, parabolic.
I'm sorry. Getting old. I'm going to play the card now and then.
High tech calls it sometimers.
Yeah, I just hope I don't graduate from that class. So anyway, I became one with the bionic dish for a couple of years and went down the road of getting all kinds of equipment, upgrading the bionic dish to one of the best parabolic dishes on the market. It was a Dan Gibson he was well known for his birding. He would catch really clean recordings in the field. And as Abe can attest to, maybe you too, Gwendolyn, if you're familiar with field recording, that they're not real clean. When most often, because you've cranked up the gain so hard because you want to catch it as much as you can, even if it's like a mile or two away. So anyway, go ahead, Abe.
No, I was going to say, and that's probably one of the beauties of the parabolic is that distance that it catches, but it catches everything.
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing that I found out that it does have a bias. It is much better in its field of focus, which is about a 90-degree pattern. So if you want to catch the full 360 degrees, you're going to need 4 dishes to accomplish that. And that got to be kind of an expensive scenario. So I dialed way back and learned how to edit. And by that, I mean, I was able to get good recordings off of my digital recorder. And then I would go through an editing process using software that would allow me to edit in a spectrogram. And in what a spectrogram looks like, it's akin to a fingerprint with detail. And so you learn exactly where the sounds are that you want to enhance, and you enhance those. And then you learn how to diminish all the sounds around it. So that's been a process over the years, and there's many different techniques that I use. I don't use a cookie cutter formula. Each audio is a little bit different, and I'll use a little different techniques to get it. So all the audio that we're going to play tonight will have been edited, but it's edited for hearing better. what you really need is the original audio on file, so that if anybody says, I'd like to hear the original, I can go back and I can play that cut.
Okay.
And so you can see where my editing has been. But I have found that I try to go to the lowest common denominator. Not everybody hears the same. So you want to get the most out of what you got.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So as somebody who really enjoys like looking at audio on the spectrograph, so what do you have a preference as far as what types of programs you use to be able to separate like background noise from the noise you're targeting?
Yeah. I have 3 different software that I use to go through the process. The first process is a sonic visualizer. It's a freeware. Anybody can get it. And I look at the audio file. I review it through that. I've learned to understand the idiosyncrasies of that and how I can dial in the contrast to pick up as much detail as possible. So I review the audio doing that process. And then when I find something of interest, I then switch to another software where I can put the audio in that file, and then I can make a clip of it, if you will. I don't edit in that the first time. What I do is I just get the audio as it was recorded, and then I put it into the third software that I use, which is called Spectral Layers. And it's a professional software editing format, and I can edit the audio in a spectrogram. So that's where I do my reduction of background noise and enhancement of the sound we want to hear.
That's awesome.
And then it goes back to the Nero software, and I can put the final touches on it. So it's quite a process just to get one little clip.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I can only imagine. So audio is more your forte. But when you work with somebody, when you research for somebody, you don't spend just a couple weeks. You spend months, even years sometimes. Am I right?
Years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say the first time I'd ever heard you on a podcast, it blew my mind. The research that you were doing, and it was the Layla one.
Oh yeah, we've got couple of clips to play later on. Yes.
Yes, that was the one where I was like, wow, and that's when I really started following a lot of your work, because I was like, this guy is onto something, and so I was a fan from then on out. So that one got me. So I was really excited to have you on it, because I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that well, we'll get to it. So
okay,
yeah, there's a few files here that are that have made me wonder what the heck is going on out there. I think one is called Jurassic Park, and I think you'll agree with me after you hear why I call it that.
Yeah.
So yeah, there'll be a few things I don't think people are familiar with hearing that we'll play tonight.
Yeah, that's exciting. Abe, you look like you're itching over there. Do you?
Well, I'm watching you, and I see you fangirling David over here. I'm like,
oh, Abe is laughing.
So I'm just like, okay, cool. She's geeking out. I'm geeking out too, and you're absolutely right, man. I mean, I wish you were here when he was at the MDC. And everybody was geeking on David. They're like, oh my gosh. I mean, he captivated the audience. Here we go with the goosebumps. And he just sucked people in. And he had their undivided attention. And I mean, this guy, he for what he does with the audio and how he cleans it up, and he just did the process for you. It takes a lot of time to do what he did with one thing. and with all the audio that he does, he meticulously goes through these files and cleans them up. If there's like a spike on the spectrograph, he's like, okay, that might be something. He'll go to that spike and see what he can bring out from there.
Yeah,
It's not just listening to it; it's also seeing it as well.
exactly, Abe. That's it on the head right there. You have to review visually. It's really the only thing that we can all kind of agree on. Most people, we hear differently. I hear different than you. You hear different than other people. So to get any kind of consensus on what we all hear is really rough. But our society is kind of visually oriented, so it's easier to see something and go, yeah, I see that. I see what you're talking about. So.
Yeah, absolutely right. We went to an audiologist or had our ears or hearing tested, and you have those headphones on. And they say lift up the arm, when you hear something. And you're right. Somebody will lift it up where somebody else might not hear that range of hearing. So, and when you have that tool there, you're absolutely right. It gives us the consensus, and we can agree that something happened at that point. And let's see what we can focus on, and hopefully we can pick up and bring it out.
Right. Yep. Yeah, we can all hear what this is differently, but we can all agree that it's there, and that's the important part.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you have always been into Bigfoot, but it wasn't until later when you started researching. So, can you kind of tell us a little bit about kind of where you got started with your interests and go from there?
God, it goes back to I hate to say how far back, middle 50s. My grandfather had a farm in Vancouver, well, actually Battleground, Washington, which is a little bit north of Vancouver. And he had an 80-acre farm. It was a single man. He had milk cows, he had pigs, he had chickens, everything under the sun that he could grow and make money on, including fruits and vegetables. So, it was the old farm way of life back then. And he said one summer day, he was cutting hay, and up jumped a 5-foot-tall monkey and ran across the field and hopped a fence and went into the woods. So here I am, 5, maybe 6 years old at tops, and I know that there's monkeys in the woods. and so every once in a while, my grandma would send me down to get the mail out of the mailbox, and I'd have to walk past 60 acres of woods, and that was the longest walk to get to the mailbox and back. So yeah, I've always known that there's monkeys in the woods. So I had my first experience when I was 11, and we lived about 5 miles due south of my grandfather's farm. And I know it was due south because there's a power line cut that went in front of our house, and it went beside my grandfather's house. So anyway, about 5 miles from where he had his experience, there was, I think it was 164-acre field that had been logged. And it was, they logged it using the spring and buckboard method, and they would start the cut about 10 to 12 feet off the ground. So, because that's where the straight wood was. And it left all these edifices in this cow pasture. And so it was kind of a very strange place for kids to go play in and have fun and do all the things that kids do. So one Saturday afternoon, it was a little bit later in the afternoon, maybe 4 o'clock. And there was maybe 6 or 7 of us. We headed out to this pasture, and we went from one side of the field to the other. And when we got to the other side, it's there's a canopy where the cows would travel up and down the fence line and would munch along, and we had overhanging limbs there. and one of the kids picked up a stick and started banging it on one of the limbs. And all of a sudden, I can see 18 or 30-foot alders. They start doing this. And I'm looking at that going, how in the world can that possibly be? And then it goes into the next phase, which is, I thought something had fallen out of the tree, but actually limbs were being snapped off. And that created quite a commotion. Now there's so much brush that we can't see what's doing that, but we're like 30 feet from it, whatever it is. And then it cuts loose with about a 10 to 12 second howl that's like the Ohio howl. So it's a long vocalization. So we'll actually play that one of the cuts later. But anyway, it was so loud that we all kind of fell down. And I don't know if it was I fainted, but I had this kind of sensation of kind of coming to my senses on the ground. And I just yelled out, "Run!" And we all ran home. And my dad said that I darn near tore the screen door off trying to get into the house. and I was talking a mile a minute, and I described this vocalization to him, and I said it sounded like a lion roaring and an elephant trumpeting at the same time. Now, I've heard that description, I would guess 10, 12 times now throughout my doing research, and people telling me they heard this and they heard that, including some celebrities on TV that have used those same two terms. It was two sounds, a high sound and a low sound melded into one. And I went on the internet a little while ago, and I recorded an elephant trumpeting and a lion roaring and merged the two. So that'll be kind of fun. That's one of the clips that I've put in there tonight. So we'll listen to that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So if you want, we can pull it up now, or we can wait.
Oh yeah. Let's see. It would be.
I think it was the first Bigfoot experience, right?
Yes, that's it.
So the way I had to do this is I just have to add my screen to stage. We're not going to make it big though. Well, okay, maybe we will. It's not going to let me do it otherwise. So let me know if you guys hear that okay. All right.
So that's not exactly what I heard, but you kind of get the idea that it's two sounds. It's a low component and a high component. And I'm really surprised myself with how many times I hear people explain that it was two sounds.
With that being said, do you think that they have a double larynx?
Oh, good question. Maybe not. You have heard of throat singers before?
Yep.
They do something similar where they're able to do two vocalizations. They don't have two throats, so they just have the command of their larynx and are able. Yeah. So, but that doesn't necessarily negate the idea that they might have.
From what we know of other Homo species, is that they don't.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess
start there.
We could assume that they probably don't either.
Right.
Just something that came in my head, like, okay. So I had to ask.
Yeah. How come we're hearing two sounds? There's a reason.
Yeah.
What is that reason?
Exactly. Are two of them sounding off at the same time? Who knows, right?
Yeah.
On a spectrograph, you probably would be able to pick that up, though.
You can see the representations in the higher and the lower end. Yes. But not all vocalizations show all those traits. It has to do with the distance from the vocalizer from the recorder. So there's an intensity that's will get more detail the closer it is to the mic. So if it's a mile away, you're only going to hear a certain sounds, which might not necessarily include the higher resonances. It's going to probably be the lower resonances that you're going to hear.
So just to go back to the multiple sounds, I was actually, while you guys were talking, I was listening, I was looking up. So primates are actually known to have multiple vocal cords or twin vocal cords. Yeah. So I was like, well, the only way they could do those double, sounds would be if they had multiple vocal cords. And primates do actually have what's called twin vocal cords.
Interesting.
So are we talking about like great apes on the Homo? Great apes, right, compared to monkeys, or what? I think what we're dealing with is a lot of the Homo genus.
Yeah, I think that we're dealing with something that's more on the Homo into the human into the spectrum. Yeah. I've always thought that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Go ahead.
One more additional point, though. You're aware that the gorillas and the baboons have what's called air sacs, and they can inflate that, and it enables them to make deeper penetration, long-range type vocalizations. Dr. Meldrum proposed this theory, and I'm a proponent of it because some of the vocalizations seem to go on longer than people can vocalize. So that's interesting. And so I am of the opinion, just that again, it's my opinion that they have vocal sacs.
Yeah.
Air sacs, rather, not vocal sacs. Excuse me.
Yeah. I just want to touch on this question from Winter Boy. He said he's curious as to how many and what quality of audio recordings are out there capturing that buzzing sound that could possibly be Sasquatch and maybe even infrasound.
There seems to be more, and every time I'm on Untold Radio and Doug brings it up or somebody brings it up, it seems like it inspires 10 more people to either talk about it or send in audio recordings. I was a little bit skeptical of it at first. I had heard other explanations which kind of made sense. I mean, it sounds like a hummingbird. It actually, the visual spectrogram looks like a hummingbird type vocalization. Another creature that can make those sounds is a moth. So you have to eliminate those before you say it's this. But we do know from an eyewitness testimony, there was a lady that they identified as Mrs. Caulfield. She was down at the river in 1934, and she was washing her laundry, and she heard a hummingbird, and she looked up to see it, and there stood a Sasquatch making this sound. So we have a visual sighting of somebody that actually saw a Sasquatch make this particular sound.
Yeah. I think it's good to have that correlation, when you have one thing that directly correlates with the other.
Right.
It's funny because I'd never heard of that buzzing sound being connected to Sasquatch until just now. And we were out researching one day, and I had a friend of mine who was there with me. She had the parabolic dish with the headphones on, and I was just walking ahead of her, probably about, 15 yards ahead of her. And right when I heard this like buzz, it was like zzz, go past my ear, she like ripped off the headphones and said something just like shocked, like this shocking sound just went all the way through the parabolic dish and into her ears. But it didn't
Oh,
actually
wow.
shock her, just the sound of like an electricity shock.
Yep.
And it hurt her ears, but I heard it with my right ear only as it like buzzed past me. It was
Wow.
really weird. But I didn't
Yeah.
connect it to Bigfoot, but we were out there researching Bigfoot in the moment.
Right. Right. So I guess, to eliminate subjectiveness, you just report it, and there's possibilities, and one of them is it could be a Sasquatch making that sound.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. Wow.
What do you think, Abe?
When you are seeing this sound, this humming or buzzing sound on the spectrograph, for the people who are not aware of this, what hertz, megahertz is it falling?
Well, the reason it's buzzing is it's numerous.
Okay.
It's like 15 or 20 visualizations, and they are usually lower in hertz range, like 140 hertz and below, and maybe it dips into the infrasound. Don't know.
Okay.
I do know that some sounds, low sounds, people can hear, but they also say they feel it. Well, if you feel the sound, you're not hearing the sound, and that's infrasound. That's below 20 hertz.
Right. Yep. When you're seeing this, is it coming across? You say it goes from 15 to, or it goes kind of a couple of different hertz. Like, is it wow, wow, wow?
No,
like,
it's not pulsating.
Pulsating. Okay.
No,
It's a steady stream of just sound.
It's just like a hummingbird is flying by, and you know how they kind of a sound.
Well, I hear that more often with bees, but I've never
Yes,
really
right. Yeah. Get me out of here.
Run! But and flies, but I honestly I don't think I really ever paid attention to a hummingbird flying or heard anything. It almost makes me want to go grab a parabolic and just go out in the field and just record that. I wonder if that would help with your research. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. So David, why don't you tell us about one of your most exciting years investigating one area?
Oh Lord.
I mean, you probably have many, but like one of the ones that was like really compelling to you.
You know what? You've got me where I can't think of one right at the moment. I'm thinking of so many different things that has happened.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us about the Layla one? Because that one just is very exciting to me, because that's how I got to know you on a podcast.
Sure. Was working with a witness that had actually seen something near her property. And she called the Olympic Project to describe what had happened. And she talked with Derek first, and she described her situation. Derek went out, checked it out, said it's very possible. She had actually seen something while she was in the passenger side of her car, and it was standing next to a tree, and she kind of did a double take and looked at it. One of those events where everything goes in slow motion as you see it. So she got a real good look at the detail of it from a side and kind of behind. And it was immense. It was huge. And she said that, I don't swear, but in this particular circumstance, I was swearing up a blue streak, and it really excited my husband because he had never heard me talk like that before. but she had seen a gosh darn Sasquatch and let him know, and they drove up the road maybe another mile to their home, and he finally convinced her husband they needed to go back. They went back, of course, not there, but they were on red alert, and things started happening, and they started hearing sounds, and that's when Derek said, "Okay, you're now out of my league. You need to talk to David." And that's when I got involved, and went up there, met with them. They started walking me around their property, and I asked them, if you don't mind, I'd like to try doing a wood knock. And I do this thing where I clap in front of my mouth and create a popping sound. And I did that, and immediately we got a response. Oh, game on.
Yeah.
So we went back and forth, and then could hear something kind of paralleling us and moving to our 6 o'clock, and there was something at our 12 o'clock. So we were sandwiched, and I've had that happen numerous times. So I know that seems to be a technique that they use to get us in the middle of them, so they can kind of keep control of what's going on. But having that happen, we went back to their home, and I said, I think we should try a recording project. And she agreed to put, I said, you don't have to do anything other than turn the recorder on, put it outside. We connected to the house power for electricity, so we didn't need to use batteries. But we did that for about 4 or 5 years of collecting things. And one of the things that happened that we're going to play is that her husband would leave periodically, and he's the one that typically let the dogs out and bring them back in nightly. So when he was gone, that was up to the other witness. We'll call her Donna. She had to let the dogs out and get them to come back in. Well, she let them out, and before she could call them back in, she would hear. I think there's 3 recordings with the Layla in it. So one of the times it just was calling the dog by its name, and when I say it's I think it was sounding similar to Greg, but she knew Greg wasn't there. He was, long gone, doing his job somewhere else. So that kind of freaked her out. But we got it recorded a couple of times. So if you want to play those 3 that have Layla in the name, we'll kind of discuss what was going on.
All right. So that's
Mimicry.
Mimicry. And then Come Here, or let me see,
no, actually,
oh, here we go.
The second one. Okay, that's the husband actually calling the dog, and the childlike voice that you hear in the background is saying, "That's Layla.
Yeah.
That's Layla."
Yeah. It's wild. And then we can play the other one too if you'd like.
Yeah, the one that's the next one down, DDW.
Yeah. Is that the Layla one?
Well, actually, Bridge Come, Where Are You? Okay, so that is neither Greg or Donna, but it was recorded, and something is calling Bridge. Is their other Bridget is their other dog, and it's Bridgie.
Oh,
Bridgie, come, and the other voice says, "Where are you?"
wow. Wow. Yeah, and the last one from
Yeah.
that case that you have to share with us, that one's super interesting because that one's like so spot on.
The last one, yeah, the Layla Bridget is something from the woods calling the dogs the way Greg would call the dogs, except Greg was in Florida.
Wow. And I'll play that one now.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you could tell, but it was having trouble with Bridget.
Yeah, it's and the way that their vocals work, the way they're able to make the sounds that we can't, would kind of explain why they can't speak the way we can. If in my head, the way that works, the way that I'm thinking, because if they do have the double vocals and they do have the different mouth shapes, I feel like it'd be harder for them to really enunciate the words like we do.
Well, if you think about the tongue and the way we use our tongue with words, that also is going to affect how the sound translates. So, yeah, Bridget was very difficult for that individual to say.
I wonder because we're so used to speaking and communicating the way we do communicate, and I'm sure as much as they are too, that if they were to communicate like us, it would only be a matter of time where they could pronunciate just as well as us. I mean, it's a lot has. I think a lot of it has to do with repetitiveness, obviously, and training of the chords, the larynx.
Now, I can't speak for everybody else's recordings, but where I do have speech, it seems like it's very short utterances. And there's a thing that's called a trigram that we've got several examples of that, where it's real easy to pick out what they're saying, but it's not long, complicated paragraph types, speeches. They just speak in short utterances.
Yeah.
From the recordings that I've been able to get. I'm not saying that's true for everybody.
Right.
But
wow. We do have some of those. If you want me to go ahead and throw those up, we can listen to some of those trigrams recordings.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just having a good time with this audio. I'll play it here.
No, that's not it.
Trigrams, Brown, and then Jim Vaughn.
Yes.
Okay.
See, that's I can hear, and you may hear something different. That's okay. That's how our ears work. Like I said, we don't all hear the same, but I'm hearing Mahoha.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll play it again one more time. Yeah, I definitely hear it.
Yeah. And then there's one, hey ho he.
Sorry, lost the screen here. Hey ho. Let me see. Is that the Jim Vaughn one? No.
No. Let's see. The very top one. What's the first one?
Growly, Wahoo.
Oh no, that's not the trigram.
Let's see the cheat sheet here.
I may have messed up sending it to you, so I apologize.
No, that's okay. That's okay. see here.
Is it the one on the end that's highlighted?
Oh, that's trigrams. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the brown and I remember seeing it. Oh, here we go. It is under there, but oh, maybe I put it. That was my fault then. I'm the one who put it in the wrong file then.
Oh, that can happen.
Yeah. Let's see here.
So
we can.
So yeah, well, let me tell you the name of it, and we'll see if that's in a hey ho he.
Yeah, let me see.
I don't. Yeah, it doesn't matter what folder it's in.
Let me just do it like this so everybody can see my screen. Let me remove my screen real fast. Everybody's seeing what I'm up to. Don't look at my email. All right. Let's see here. Man, what a way to boof it up.
So, David, I mean, while she's doing that, I mean, you mentioned going like this to make that popping sound.
Yeah.
You know, when I first got into this, I would have sworn that they used wood on wood because it just sounds so acoustical. But have you, when you're out in the field, have you ever tried to find a good hard, wood to hit against a tree?
Yes.
It's just dilapidated, and when you do, it just cracks and breaks. And
yeah, it goes thunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like two baseball bats hitting each other, which is what we hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or also, I mean, makes me think because when you do use a rock on a tree as well.
Yeah. I had a friend in high school that with his tongue could create the loudest that sound only amplified 100 times. I have no idea how he was able to do it.
Probably a fat tongue.
But yes, I think they have the capability of doing a tongue click and making that particular sound. Yeah, the first time that really kind of sunk in was when a witness that I was working with had something happen to him. Something kind of ran by him while he was in the field in an area where he had seen them before, and it was knocking wood, and he said it was making the identical sound as it was running through the woods. And I know from experience that once you find a tree that makes that sound, you stick with it because it ain't going to happen, in the next tree over. So as it was running through the woods, it was making an identical sound. So it was kind of that aha moment. Well, they ain't doing it with striking wood on wood. They're making that sound some other way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I remembered my friend that did it, or, I can even do a percussive sound doing it that way too. So there's all kinds of different ways that they can make that particular kind of sound.
So I figured out what the problem is. I don't have something called Hey Ho He. I have one that's the growly. So that was the one that I thought you were.
Yeah, the growly thing is in the Wahoo thing, which is the baboon bark. So
okay.
Yeah,
so I don't have one that says Hey Ho He. I'm missing that one.
Okay. Well, that can happen. We can do the Jim Von Lasso and Paul Graves.
Yeah, let's do that one.
Yeah. Now this is a trigram, and okay, you're playing it.
Oh, I can go ahead. We can cover it real fast.
Okay, so Paul sent me. He's an investigator in Washington, very well known. Abe knows Paul, very respected. He and another researcher were out on a road where, this name too, Abe, John Andrews. We're going to play some of his long distance recordings here.
Rings a bell.
Yeah, he was in the same location where John got those recordings, and a bunch of coyotes started going crazy. Paul said, David, there's something underneath. Why don't you see what you can do to filter out the coyotes and bring forward the voice of interest? And it's saying maho, mahaho. And it's while the coyotes are going off. So I've filtered down the coyotes, and so you can just hear this other verbalization.
Yeah.
So there's coyotes and there's something else that's not coyotes. That to me sounds like a voice. It sounds human like, if you will, but there weren't any humans out there. Paul guaranteed me that.
Yeah.
He said if there were, he would have seen them drive past him. So
yeah, I've heard something similar numerous times where just all the kinds of coyotes go off, and in the coyotes calling, you can hear something else that sounds almost human-like.
yeah.
Yeah. Definitely heard that before. So, Abe, you got anything? I'm going through the comments here. I'm trying to read through them.
No. And we're talking about whatnot. So it looks like Dan chimed in on this with, branches are being broken. It can often sound like a whatnot. A lot of limbs available, also a consideration. For me, when I got chased back in the day and I heard that crack of a limb being broke or a tree being broke, there is a different sound to something being broken, a crack, versus, so to speak, I would think. I don't think it's that much acoustical to something, a tree or a limb being broke, versus a possible knock as we describe it.
There's a plethora of sounds, and we're all right.
Yeah.
They break branches
I'm
at
not
times.
saying Dan's wrong in any way, shape, or form. As I mentioned, to me, when I first was chased, and I'm hearing, I'm envisioning a limb being snapped and broke, and when a tree falls, you can tell that's a snap, versus like I want to say like a thud.
I agree with that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think you're onto something with the making the sounds with the mouth. Instead of actually knocking a branch against a tree, that the sound could be coming from their mouth.
Well, people have reported the percussive sound immediately after they did theirs. Well, the Sasquatch isn't standing there with a stick waiting for you to do a knock. Okay, bam. That.
Yeah,
that's just not the case.
Yeah, there's a lot of theories. There's some theories that it could be them banging on their chests.
Yep, we've got chest beats. We got that recorded. Gorilla chest beats.
I've heard that.
I don't have it in what I sent you, but I have recorded it. Yes.
Oh, nice.
Very aware of that.
So, Abe, you've heard that?
Kind of a cupping sound, and it's like 4.
Yeah, I was on an expedition in Ohio. And we were walking the creek along the creek area, kind of parallel to it, and in the woods I heard, and the person I was with, I says, "Did you hear that? That sounded just like a gorilla beating his chest."
Yep.
And it does. It just sounds so much like goosebumps. It sounded so much like that. I was like, wow, but. Yeah, I mean, there's no other way of it describing it except for like a gorilla at the zoo.
Yeah. Nope. I know it's true because I've captured it. So, the first time I recorded it, I couldn't believe what I just heard.
Right.
Yeah, it was like, did I really hear that? And the recording said, yeah, you did.
Wow. It's amazing. You're talking about recording a lot, and I know there's a lot of people that are tuning in that might want to get into recording possible vocalizations and stuff like that. What do you have a preference in recorder that you'd like to suggest or recommend?
Well, I've started recording in 2007, so my technology is a little old.
Okay.
But I prefer the Roland Edirol, the RO series. Um, I I think the RO5 was the last edition, but there's the RO9, the RO9HR. That's the one that I use, and it specifically suits my needs because it has the capability of um, every 30 minutes rolling into a new file seamlessly.
Hmm.
So I don't miss anything, but now I'm dealing with 25 files throughout the night instead of one long one that I have to cut up
Yeah,
Wow.
in order to get it in the software that I'm going to use.
that's
So
true.
that to me is worth its weight in gold. It's
Yeah.
studio quality microphones, so you're going to get the best recording. You're going to get audio 360 degrees equally. It's not focused in one particular direction. Um, it can fit in the palm of your hand, fits in a baggie. So you just leave it out all night long running. And I've gotten some incredible um, audio that way. I used to connect it to a parabolic, but um, again, when things happen behind the parabolic, they're not as loud or as detailed as if they happen in front of the parabolic. So, you know, you're three chances out of four you're pointed in the right direction.
Right.
Or excuse me, one out of four possibilities. So 25% of the time you're going to be, in the direction of the sound. So I prefer to just use the microphones on the recorder. They're good enough. They'll capture great quality. So now there's other folks that use different types of recorders. Again, I have a bias to what I have standardized on myself. I know how it works, and it's easy for me. So I would recommend getting a digital recorder that suits the specifics that you want. Ask questions when you're going to buy one um, from the people that you're working with. Was this going to work outside well? Is this more suited to indoor? So,
Oh, yeah, that's
For
true.
what you do in making your what you like to do with sound easier, is there a specific recorder that you would recommend? That just captures good sound and that would help you make looking at the spectrograph or analyzing a lot more easier.
um, well, unfortunately, I can only recommend the one I use because I don't use the Zoom or I don't use some of the other recorders that are people
Okay,
are.
ask this because I can see where so in the different recordings that are sent to you,
Uh huh.
other researchers, would you have a preference in what other researchers use to record with?
I don't.
Okay, so
Um,
because of what you can do with your programs, it all
right.
kind of breaks it down
Right.
to the
There,
same.
there are some recorders that seem to have an idiosyncrasy of um, oversaturation, and they can have kind of a watery kind of a detail in the background where that's how I guess uh, some of the background noise is interpreted by the recorder. That's kind of distasteful, but I can't tell you from one recorder to the next where that might appear. I can just tell you that some recorders exhibit that quality or trait rather that doesn't really suit my needs or for a clean recording.
Okay, okay, so gotcha. Um, how long have you been with the Olympic Project? From day one, or when did you come on?
I came on maybe a year and a half after they first got going. Um, I became friends with Derek. Our paths kept crossing, and I liked the approach that they were taking, which was document, 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 and spent quite a bit of time at the cabin, and finally got an invite saying, "Hey, why don't you just join the project?" And we started getting more people, and it was about 2010. So by 2013, we had grown to maybe like 15 people or so. 15, yeah.
Nice. So, can you tell us a little bit about the purpose and mission of the Olympic project? Kind of where it was,
Well,
the direction it was taken.
originally it was a trail cam project, and then um, the trail cams started. We don't know if it were stolen, but they weren't around, and so yeah. So and then the U.S. Forest Service um, started making an appearance, and we kind of put two and two together that maybe they were taking them down. And anyway, we got the idea that they really didn't want um, trail cams in the U.S. forest. So the trail camera project, due to diminishing units that we could service, um, to being discouraged by the U.S. Forest Service. You can't do that here. You got to go, if you're going to do it, you got to do it someplace else. Okay. So we kind of shifted our focus more to education, or how we go about collecting evidence. How do you find a track? How do you cast it? So talk about recordings, how I was doing my field recording and how they can do theirs. And then just, when you go out, have a plan how to bring all of the information together that you can gather by going out in a night operation. So we had a lot of fun doing that. We're pretty much into our own thing right now. We're not, we never were a meet every Tuesday group. If something interesting happened in a certain area, then we would, investigate it to the teeth. And we're probably most well known for, we didn't find them. We were alerted to them, nests that were in a area that was going to become a logging show soon. And Derek knew the gentleman that owned that land. He had done some landscaping for him. And the gentleman called him up and said, "Derek, before I cut all the trees down, I need you to come take a look at this." And so, because it was stumping everybody that they could bring in, bear biologists, all kinds of authorities on the type of fauna in the area that could make a nest, and if they did, what would it look like? And nothing looked like this. We were able to extract some hair that was suspicious, if you will. And we've had numerous things happen since then. We've just kind of kept an eye on the area, but that's probably what we're best known for.
Right. So, can you describe, when you say nest, do you mean like one of the ground nests that people have?
Yes.
Because I've come across one. I didn't come across it. We were taken to it by somebody who found it. So, can you describe what yours looked like when you?
Yeah, if you can think of a robin's nest, or a circular or elongated nest where it had an open center and ridges around the side. Sticks would be jammed into the ground, and then huckleberry branches were woven around it. So something had to have a thumb and a hand and fingers to jam the sticks into the ground to weave the nest around.
Now, wasn't Dr. Melvin the one that noticed that there had stuff sticked into the ground to be able to weave the huckleberries?
Yep.
And he, correct me if I'm wrong, was he also suggesting that it was a birthing place?
Oh, that was, I think I might have been the first to kind of come up with that theory, but it was never proven to be the case. We suspected that there was a very unique occasion, because if it wasn't, we'd be hearing about nests everywhere, that if they built them to sleep in over a period of time, through the areas that they inhabit, we would be discovering more nests. So there seemed to be a reason for them to hunker down for maybe like a week, which, why would they do that? Well, maybe a birthing scenario. But people have come up with all sorts of different ideas. The area did yield, and when I say area, I would say maybe within a half-mile circle, 23 separate nests. This one nesting site that we first ran into, I think, had 8 or 9 nests.
Wow. The nest, it's funny that you say the nest could be a birthing space, because when we came across, when we were shown the one that we were shown, it was, it was very, very, very large. It was probably about 5 foot wide. And inside of it, there were some random sticks that had like this slime on them. It was dry though, but you could tell it was slime. But if you've ever seen a slug come through, the slime that leaves behind trails, that shiny sheen look, there was several sticks in there that had that. And there was, the possibility that it could have been a snail, or there was a possibility it could have been birthing remnants.
Sure.
So that was pretty interesting to come across. They were going to be studied by Darby Orcutt, but unfortunately, they never made their way there. So they were never able to get tested. But it was just a really cool find, and just to have the idea that it could be a birthing area, and then to have that with like birthing remnants within the nest was very interesting.
You mentioned possible hair follicles being pulled out. I don't know if you shared what was become of them or the analysis of them,
but are you familiar with Cindy Dosen?
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, Cindy was our expert. We didn't send them out to any particular lab to have them studied, but Cindy, I would put her up against any PhD any day, anytime, for her knowledge and understanding of what, different hairs. So she really educated herself to all of the types of hair that could be present. And she would say, well, I found some of this and I found some of that, but I found 3 that weren't related to any and do have the characteristics that we know of, which is a clear medulla. The between the cambrium, there's that one linear
medulla, and pretty much is clear to no medulla.
Right, and that the outer scales matched human, didn't match bear. See, she knows the difference. So,
and 3 naturally tapered tip.
Right, they were not showing any evidence of being cut.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't want to move on, but I definitely want to kind of talk a little bit about kind of a term that you came up with after doing some research of percussive voice or percussive speech, which I can't remember which one it is.
Percussive voice. I sometimes say percussive speech as well. But the first term I used was percussive voice, which means that you're hearing clicks and pops and then huffs and grunts and sounds that are staggered in the rhythm of speech. So that's what influenced me to come up with the term, is that, is this talking but not talking, and it's something that people are recording all across North America. It's not just me, but I've kind of, I think, brought it to the forefront that, hey, listen for this. If you hear, some percussive sounds in a kind of a drumming sound or rhythm sound, it may be this that I'm referencing. I do have an eyewitness that saw a Sasquatch at 25 feet make one of these sounds, and I can play you or I included it. It's R09_006.
Okay, I can play it now.
I don't know if you caught this, but at the end of each segment, that was looped 5 times, but at the end of the statement, if you will, there is a percussive sound.
Yeah. It
And
almost sounds at the end of the drops that
yeah,
there's a percussive.
Yeah, it's like that sentence is over with, or that train of thought is done. It's so it's this isn't a one-off on that. There's many different vocalizations that will have a wood knock type sound at the end. So I think that's kind of the signal. I don't know, your turn, or
Yeah,
I'm done.
Period at the end of the sentence, right?
Yeah, it's the period. Yeah, they have good diction. Is that the word? So yeah, that sound is the very first one that I kind of figured out what was going on, and it was through the use of a spectrogram that really caught my attention. I had thought that it was drumming, but then when I saw it in a spectrogram, I went, "That's not drumming," and I connected the huff at the very beginning, and then the sounds seemed to have a rhythm to them. So I thought maybe this is speech. Well, I've got more examples. You can just go right down the list if you want to, from the top.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You know,
I know that sound. That's me after I stub my pinky toe on something.
To me, it would be like a mating thing. It would be like that, being the big man and then calling out to the female. That's what it sounds like to me.
Okay. May as well be.
Yeah, it could be. We never know.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. That wouldn't work on me. I'd be
Oh
like,
boy,
wow.
I don't know where we're going with that.
Oh man.
All right, we'll go on to the next one. That one's really interesting.
Yeah, did you hear the boom at the beginning?
Yeah, to me, it's like a very subtle sound of communication to not be noticed as easily, but still communicate.
What's interesting to me is that I'm hearing a lot of reports now, since it was kind of brought up on Untold Radio, Doug's program again. People are talking about thunderous booms. And that recording starts out with a boom. I don't know if you heard that or not.
Yeah, actually, I can play that again so we can. Yeah. Bring it back. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. It does.
Yeah.
It's a very deep boom. Move on to the next one. R05.
Yeah, that's very similar to the R09, but it's separated by like 7 years, and I think it's in the same location
Oh, interesting.
as the first one was recorded.
We'll play it. Wow. Yeah, it is. I'll play that one again just to kind of get a reference or two. Yeah, it is very similar.
Now, the next one is from Quebec, and that quite a distance. I mean, from one coast to the other.
Wow.
It's very similar to the one we just played, the R09.
Oh, that's interesting. We'll play it. Wow.
Definitely heard the percussive at the end. Yeah.
It sounds very similar to the other one as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
When we had Scott Nelson, he believes, or I think he's thinking that they can produce language on the exhale and the inhale, and it comes out in guttural bursts, you know.
Yes.
And that almost kind of sounds like what's taking place right here.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have two here for Tilda.
Oh, okay. Let's play the last one first.
Okay.
Because it kind of explains who Tilda is. And we'll just let the host tell us what's going on.
All right.
New research suggests a female orangutan that calls a German zoo home is believed to communicate with her keepers in human-like manner. Named Tilda, she doesn't rely solely on her natural sounds to attract a person's attention, but instead she often mimics what are thought to be human vocalizations. Tilda appears to show speech-like patterns by both controlling her lips and tongue, as well as manipulating her vocal folds. In order for her to produce the consonant-like noises, the orangutan clicks her tongue, which in turn creates varying tones. This vocal action is similar to how humans pronounce consonants, such as B. In another one of her calls, she produces grumbles in a way that is comparable to how we make vowel sounds. According to the study, Tilda only makes these sounds during feeding time when zookeepers are with her and often adds gestures, such as pointing to the food. Researchers use both audio and video recordings to study her communication methods. The lead author of the paper that is now published in PLOS One told Discovery News, "It is our belief that Tilda learned to produce these calls from humans while she was in the entertainment business."
Wow. Wow, that really blew my mind.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Did the light bulb come on, Abe?
Yeah. It went from a little dim to a lot more brighter. So
Wow. And then she says they often use audio and video to record her. And I'm like, oh, it's the same thing we do with Bigfoot.
Yeah. So I isolated the percussive speech portion of Tilda's vocalization and looped it 3 times. That's what the next
Okay.
other one we haven't played.
Okay. Wow. I mean, Abe, now I'm getting the chills. Oh my gosh.
oh my gosh.
Well, we've
The apes ain't too far away now.
so last time I checked, we haven't got a lot of orangutans in the woods.
No.
Wow.
No.
I mean, I'm speechless. I don't even know what to say. It's just like, you know, when you hear that groundbreaking like piece that connects so much for you, you just get this vigor again. That's what I feel. I'm like, yes, I can't wait to get out there on Saturday.
Get that recorder going before you get out of the car.
Yeah, I remember you saying that on a podcast at one point. You say, never turn it off. Because somebody had asked you, when is the time where you can capture, what time of the day can you capture the most recordings? And you said when your recorder is off.
Yep.
Because that's when it always happens.
Yep. I've left my best work in the woods.
Yep, that's so true.
You know, we're talking about orangutan in the woods, and in Kentucky on Expedition Bigfoot under a possible formation, when they did eDNA collection, they came back and troglodyte, which is it was kind of chimpanzee.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm wondering, I want to say somewhere I heard somebody collecting something that was more along the lines of orangutan too.
I kind of recollect that, Abe.
You do too? Okay.
Yeah. It was like the one I heard it maybe once, maybe twice.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
But it seems to be out there as well, which is odd because then Gigantopithecus was more along the orangutan side compared to everything else. So,
right.
You know, but it's interesting. Oh my gosh, Tilda just absolutely blew my mind.
Yeah.
So, did we do the baboon bark?
We did not.
Okay. Let's do the baboon bark because that's another real thing. I've got a recording what caught my attention was I was trying to do some research on Daniel Boone and shot a Yahoo to see if there was a little bit more information. And up popped this YouTube video in the comments that maybe fit my internet search was Wahoo the baboon bark. And I went, Wahoo, wait a minute, I got to hear this. So this recording here, you're going to hear a real baboon saying something that I think will surprise you.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So that's interesting.
Yeah. So I thought, I've heard that sound before. I'm pretty sure I recorded it. Let you listen to it. I think it's 0106.
Okay. Wow.
Okay, that one was mixed in with some other things, but I think it's a little more clear in the next one, 20314.
Wow.
Now, to my ears, it's pretty clearly saying Wahoo.
Yeah.
So after hearing those kind of vocalizations and knowing the term, I think in the Appalachians is Yahoo, it kind of makes me wonder if there isn't a tie into the vocalization to the name.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, how old was that name really associated with Bigfoot in that area?
Well, actually, the story goes back, oh gosh, to Gulliver's Travels, and the Yahoo were the ape-like creatures. I mean, they if you listen to the description of them, there's a Sasquatch, what they're describing,
Right.
and that was, Gulliver came into the specific area and found Yahoos.
Was
So
it Daniel Boone that claimed to shoot one?
yeah, that's what originally started my search, and that's how I came across the baboon bark, Wahoo, the baboon bark. Wahoo was just a little bit too close to Yahoo for me, so I had to check it out.
Yeah.
Very cool. Kind of geeking over here, like, wow.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, people name things after the sounds they make all the time. So, yeah, it makes sense.
I don't know if we want to get into any of the long vocalizations.
Yeah, absolutely. You just tell me where to go.
Well, we can just start with the first one and play them all.
All right.
Okay, so this is all Ohio Howl type stuff.
Okay, so we are in what file folder?
Long call?
Long call. You did say that. Okay. I'll start this off. It's been a long day.
I'm the one with the memory issues, so.
Hey, speak for yourself.
I did.
All right, let's start the top. Definitely an Ohio Howl.
Yep, that's a John Andrews special recording off Highway 62.
Wow.
Here in Washington State.
Wow. I'll go on down. And that would be spooky to hear if you're out there by yourself.
Yep.
All right, 702, Howl, 5 times loop. Wow. I mean, the vocals to make that is just wild. All right, let's listen to undulating vocal. Now,
So
are
you can,
there people in
yes,
that? Okay.
yeah. There's like they're around a campfire chatting and not paying attention.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know how you can't even like how you could ignore that. Oh wow. I heard it. I was like, this sounds like there's people there. Okay. On to the next one. That one's kind of interesting because he holds that higher pitch for longer than
Right.
you typically hear in the Ohio howl. He held it.
Now, there, for those that are curious how those sound like people, there is a tell, and I can't go into it with the amount of time that we have left because it takes about a half an hour before I can get people's crossed and glazed eyes back to normal so they can grasp what I just said. So just realize that there is a tell, and that makes these very suspicious. Hawk soaring, no. I have had batteries go dead, but not turned off.
Yeah, not physically turned off for me either.
Yeah.
But what's your tell? How do you?
Well, it's a visual tell in the spectrogram. So it's in all of the suspicious sounds. Oh, well, I shouldn't say all, but it's in like 99% of the suspicious vocalizations. So,
Wow.
when you're out there, David, and you want to try to get a sound recorded, do you do any type of vocalizations yourself?
you mean do I broadcast? No.
Listen response.
Did one time, got a result, but I was under protest when I did it. I was kind of talked into it. I just don't know what it means. If I do a vocalization imitating something that I heard, I don't know if it means, meet me at the corner at 6:00 or, or you leave my wife alone, you touch her and I'll, so you don't know
That's true.
what it is that you're saying. So, I have done wood knocks, and I have had exchanges. So that to me seems like it's on more friendlier terms. So if you have to broadcast, I would say knock.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Gwendolyn? Do you go out there and just let one rip?
No, I don't. I have, but again, I was a situation like David experienced where he was like really kind of like talked into it. I always hated it every time I let myself do it, but I've had results, and some very good results. But again, I don't know what they're saying.
Right.
I feel more comfortable making low tone sounds that are more that can draw an intrigue more than just calling. Like not call blasting, but just yelling out into the open. I think that lower sounds, lower tones are more intriguing, less threatening than just yelling out into the vast openness and hoping that it's a positive thing that you just did. So I don't particularly like to. I will sometimes do like the, rock clacks.
Well, I will say this, and I was just going to mention rock clacks, that it seems that I've had the most aggressive responses to rock clacks, and I think I've figured it out. If you're clacking rocks, what does that tell in the Sasquatch?
Well,
I'm armed.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about why apes and gorillas and all those would do it, it seems more of an aggressive act.
Well, they know that you have two rocks, and how many times have you heard stories of people have rocks thrown at them? I think it's a rock is an aggressive thing
Yes.
to them. So if you're armed, they don't know what you're going to do with that rock.
That's
So
true.
that's why I say, if you're going to clack rocks, have a plan, know where your car is, because you may have to make a hasty retreat.
Yeah. Been there too, where you just like can't wait to get out. And I've heard you talk about, getting almost zapped in a way, and where it's that panicky, you got to get out feeling. I would have never said I'd been, infrasound or zapped until I heard you say that explanation. And I've had that before, where it's like this overwhelming sense of get out, and you're
Oh
not supposed to
yeah,
be here. Yeah, so maybe I have been.
yeah. I think that's more of an infrasound scenario where they can affect your feelings. Um, the government knows about this tool, so in certain hertz below 20, it can really affect you in a negative way.
Yeah.
So I think that they know that.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. We don't know what they're capable of.
Nope.
So we had a couple more in this folder if you want to
Sure.
throw those up real fast.
Yeah.
So we'll go. I feel like maybe, no, we hadn't heard this one yet.
That was recorded by John Andrews. Okay, the first vocalization was Matt Moneymaker's Ohio Howl. The second vocalization is something I personally recorded near Bumping Lake here in Washington. And the third vocalization was by Charlie Page, like 12 to 13 years after Matt had recorded the Ohio Howl. Charlie recorded his in the Cuyahoga National Forest. So three vocalizations that sound pretty close to each other. All three of those had the tell that I talked about, that I look for. So
Is that where on the spectrograph it goes small and then real big and then small again?
no, that's
I'm
not
just
the
curious.
tell. the vocalization does look like that, but there is a something that's missing.
The possible human aspect.
That last one we heard sounds very similar to the ones that we heard when I had my crazy experience. Like, and it wasn't just one, it was a bunch of them all over.
How close are you to the Cuyahoga?
Well, this happened in Berea, Kentucky. That experience.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
what?
Sounded very similar.
700 miles apart?
Yeah. It was but there was like, they were all over. It was like, there were so many, it almost was like, where you get so many sounds of the same sounds. It's like, boom, 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 boom. There was that many of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's just constant until we left. I mean, yeah, it was a pretty intense experience, but
no kidding.
Yeah, but that's what it sounded like. That's the one it started with, and then another one did it, and then another one did it, and then a few of them did it at the same time, and then all of a sudden it was just all over the place.
We can play the last three recordings, and I think we wrap it up. They're
right.
Kind of a miscellaneous, but they're some of my favorites. The first one that is car lock. You're going to hear something attempt to get into my car. It's locked, and you can hear the latch, like being pulled on, and then it slips out of its fingers and it goes clunk back. So you can hear that, and then it takes 2 steps from my car towards my tent, and it grabs the blue tarp that's on my tent and starts crinkling it and making snuffling sounds that are really strange. This is like 2 feet above my head that all these sounds are going on. And then as it leaves, it somehow touches a lantern, and you can hear the lantern squeak. So,
Wow.
and it's repeated, I think, 3 times. So,
Okay. Let's play that. Wow. Wow. Okay. So, quick question before we move on to the next one. So, how far out into the wilderness were you? Were you pretty far out there?
Yes and no.
Okay.
It's hard to say you're out in the wilderness when you got 90 Bigfoot researchers crawling around the woods
Yeah.
on an expedition.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's
Yeah.
still pretty interesting, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. I've had so many things happen in this one particular location, but this is one of my most favorite because of the strangeness of the snuffling sound that it's making.
Yeah.
It
And the
sounds like
fact that it knows what to do to enter that space to pull the handle and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Oh, and I have numerous car door lock things so be sure and lock your car in the woods.
Definitely do that now. Wow.
Yeah. You're going to drive off with your vehicle.
Can you imagine? Like those AI Bigfoot videos floating around.
I know I parked my car here somewhere.
Messing with the Sasquatch, Jack Links.
All
Okay,
right, so this is the one you were talking about, the Jurassic Park one.
Yeah. So that was recorded by Julie Wrench in North Carolina on her property. And I told her, you may as well start thinking about someplace else. You got dinosaurs.
That's funny. Do you know what it sounds like? It reminds me of that baboon recording that you had, but if that baboon was like 8 times bigger, you know?
Yeah.
That's what it kind of reminds me of.
Hey, Carl, I saw your comment. Looking forward to it too.
All right, so we'll play that last one here.
Well, just so a little clarification, there was a group of us, I would say maybe 10 in this rock pit that were kind of scattered around, and one of the researchers had seen one walk across the road and into the forest. And so I had trained that's when I was using a bionic dish. I trained my bionic dish in that direction and wasn't disappointed.
Wow.
Um, uh, there was some elements in the vocalization that I call singing.
I was just going to say, it sounds like something very musical.
Yeah.
Like a music tone.
Right. Yeah. That definitely fits in that category. And then there was some moaning going on. And it was almost like you could picture something was kind of crying, being upset like a little one.
Mm-hmm.
And the older generation were saying, shush, be quiet.
Yeah, actually does make sense.
So anyway, that was one of our fun times that night. We got more recordings from that night, but that one kind of stood out.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, oh, go ahead, Abe.
I was just going to say, there's some requests out of the chat room for you to do a vocalization.
No. Not me. All the most requests came from somebody named Minnesota Bigfoot Research.
So when I am in the field, I do solicit the Ohio Hall. And so back in 2018, we were on a reservation. And one of my ex-team members, he did the Ohio Hall. And Dave, I believe I sent you this audio clip. And you touched on. I still haven't had the opportunity to listen to it yet. But we had coyotes going off to the right, and then the Ohio Hall goes off, and then to our left we have another creature sounding off with the Ohio Hall. Wow. So me and my team, we were in between two creatures sounding off on a reservation up in northern Minnesota doing the Ohio Hall. Ooh, my hairs are standing up. It was really, really cool.
Yeah.
Wow. So are you still accepting vocalizations? Are you still taking a look at them if people send them over to you? Or
Sure. I always like when people ask that I'm invited on their podcast. I would like to encourage people to send them to you so that you can be involved in the process as well.
Okay.
I'd like to keep everybody involved so that, if I get something, it's not just coming directly to me. It came through you to me.
Yeah. So I guess, we can, get them sent over to thefoldmysteries@gmail.com. If anybody has anything to send over to you, and then I'll shoot them your way. So
yeah.
Awesome. I get to kind of vet them a little bit. That's exciting to me.
There you go. Yeah,
awesome.
Exactly.
So do you have anything cool coming up, or any conferences you're speaking at, or other podcasts coming up?
Well, Abe knows that I'm working on a book, and I've had several things in my life over the last couple of years that have kept me from finishing that. But I'm back on the trail, back on the hunt, and I want to get that done before I get out and do other things. So I'm kind of cutting back on doing conferences or things of that nature until I can get the book done, and then we'll hit it hard.
Awesome. Yeah. So, do you have maybe like a time frame or something that we can?
I would like to get it done. Yeah, this year. Definitely want to get it done this year.
All right. So obviously it'll be on Amazon because Amazon sells every book, right?
Actually, the fun thing about this is going through Doug Hychek's.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. They have the capability of the QR code. And so we can put the QR code in the book, and people can listen to them via their cell phone or computer, or however they can translate the QR code into a link.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So now you can read and hear at the same time. So it kind of combines the two things, and now it makes it all that much more powerful. Because just talking about the and describing it with words is one thing, but being able to hear it as well as the description.
Is it going to be in a spectrograph just for you? That'd be cool.
Yeah.
David, I mean, I love spectrographs. I love audio. So if you ever want to teach me that little secret that you were talking about, you didn't have time to cover tonight, I am all ears.
Okay.
I would love to hear the little thing to watch out for. Cause
it'll cross your eyes for sure. I've seen it many times. It actually took me 2 years to really grasp the concept of what's going on. So
okay,
you're probably a quick study, and I'm a slow study, so that's not a fair comparison. But
no, not at all. Well, you have been awesome. Abe, do you have anything else before I?
No, I mean, oh my gosh, Dave, you blow my mind every time. I mean,
well, it's been quite entertaining, Abe, watching you get your mind blown because I'm on the other end over here watching your reaction going crazy.
I can't hide my emotions or my reactions, man. I mean, I'm going to let them go. And, you know, when she was opening up with that AI, hello, I just did that face.
I saw that expression numerous times tonight.
Holy smokes. So again, I just, you know, I sympathize. I'm with Gwendolyn here. It's been absolutely fun having you on, and I just thank you so much for what you have done and continue to do in the Bigfoot community. You're one of the guys I do look up to, and I cherish our friendships.
Yeah, thank you, Abe. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thanks, Gwendolyn.
I'm a big fan, David. So I hope that we get to talk again soon, and let me pick your brain about spectrographs. So
okay, well we'll work on that.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks. Good
All right.
evening.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Watch on.